Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Indoor Recess, where we discuss sports inside because we can't go out. And joining me, as always, is Kevin McGrahan, the hockey reporter of the Toronto Star. And here we're going to talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's crazy to think that it's almost another season after what we've gone through all through the summer and whatnot. So, my first question to you, Kevin, is what are you looking forward to most with the Leafs this season, and why is it Joe Thornton playing on the first line?
Well, I guess what I'm looking forward to most of the season is figuring out why Joe Thornton is playing on the first line. I think that's what a coach does when you have, like, Mike Babcock didn't do this, right? If you remember back to last year, Jason Spezza was scratched for the first game, and everybody turned to Mike Babcock for that reason, because you want the new guy, the veteran guy, you want to show some respect, you want him to be able to play in front of his fans. That's the reason he came here, is to play in his hometown. So Joe Thornton, it's a sign of respect. You know what? We're gonna let you play with the best two guys on our team. Ditto Jimmy Vesey, who is more of a puzzle being on the second line with Tavares and Nylander. But it is an opportunity to show, you want to get some numbers, we'll help you get some numbers. We're going to play you on our best lines. We're going to make you feel really welcome here. And if by the second period of the first game it's not working, they can switch things up. I mean, nothing is ever permanent. Now, I think it's intriguing to see Joe Thornton on that line. At the same time, Joe Thornton is best playing 12 minutes a game. Auston Matthews is best playing 18, 20, 22 minutes a game. So what you'll end up seeing is other guys, doubling in on that playing. Like Zach Hyman will go in there for a shift, and Alex Kerfoot will go in there for a shift. It's not the worst idea in the world, and it certainly does welcome the new guys to the team when you give them a big role right away.
Okay. Other things that I actually wrote down was like Matthews potentially on the penalty kill, or a part-time role. What are your thoughts on like maybe even the defense with the Leafs this year? That's always a big question mark.
Matthews killing penalties is intriguing because Marner kills penalties.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of 20-goal scorers, 30-goal scorers, 40-goal scorers who now kill penalties. Zach Hyman scored 20 goals. He kills penalties. I find it intriguing. It's part of Auston Matthews' natural growth as a player. To be the best player, he's got to play all positions. It's a tactical thing for the coach too, because Auston Matthews is a left-handed center, so he'll take faceoffs on the left side. So there's other reasons to look at it. They need centers to play the penalty kill to take faceoffs, so he's one of those guys. I don't think Tavares kills penalties, and so you're down to Kerfoot then, and Matthews is a good faceoff taker. So that's one idea. It certainly will raise Auston Matthews' minutes, and it certainly will come at the expense of players' time at the lower end of the lineup. It's not going to be a permanent thing. Like, I think he'll probably be situational in terms of where the faceoff is. And then head over the boards while the bigger players come out, the ones with more penalty killing experience come out when they get the puck out. But the whole idea that the Leafs like to use the penalty kill as scoring opportunity. So if you play Matthews and Marner on the penalty kill at the same time, could be interesting, right? The other team's not going to feel all that comfortable with the power play. They're not, because the Leafs are fairly aggressive in terms of going after that puck. So it should create a new dynamic.
And to add on to that, with the Leafs defense, every year you hear it from everyone, pundits, fans, Leafs need defense. So the additions this year, Brody, Bogosian, and Mikko Ledinen, like objectively, the Leafs defense has to be better than it was last year.
Well, it really can't be worse, can it? For a top-tier team to have the defense that they had last year, not just. They had so many injuries on the blue line last year.
That's fair.
They played their full healthy six at any time through the year. It was kind of bizarre. And Morgan Riley played hurt the entire time. I think the Heat, besides the new guys, will get a little bit of runway here. Like Mikko Ledinen has never played in the NHL, so let's see if he can adapt. Zach Bogosian is a role player on the on the blue line because he's only going to play 12 minutes and only big defensive minutes, penalty kill minutes, that sort of thing. And TJ Brody, it's the match of TJ Brody and Morgan Riley where you have the biggest focus, because we know what Jake Muzzin and Justin Hall are going to do, but Riley had an off year last year. Or was it an off year? Is he not really as good a defenseman as we all think he is? So the pressure is on Morgan to kind of come through as the big number one guy, and the pressure conversely is with TJ Brody to create some of the magic with Riley that he had with Mark Giordano in Calgary. So there's a lot of, it's the what if statement of the year for the Maple Leafs, right? Every team's got flaws. Every team's got ifs, and this is the biggest if. If Riley and Brody can become a dominant pair, the Leafs defense will be fine. But if there's a failing anywhere, and that's the one, the Leafs will be struggling again in their own zone.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously with this, unpredictable, with this, the pandemic still going on, the NHL has decided to do different divisions. So the North Division, also known as, is it the Scotia North Division?
As an Irish Canadian, I object.
Is it better or worse, do you think, for the Leafs than the typical Atlantic? There's some pretty big, I mean, obviously Edmonton's a big team. What do you think the chances, or what do you think of the matchups for the Leafs in the North Division?
I kind of love the matchups for the Leafs. I mean, let's remember, they just got away from Boston, their arch, nemesis that they can't beat in the playoffs. And they got away from this reigning Stanley Cup champion all in one fell swoop.
Yeah.
If you look at how the Leafs did against the Canadian teams last year, they did okay. They were in the top three. I did the standings for them, and they were top three, I believe. If you look at where all the Canadian teams finished, the Leafs and the Oilers were kind of 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. Every Canadian team has flaws. There's no real division champion that jumps out at you, so it may as well be the Leafs as any other team. It's a hard division to handicap, though, because the weaker teams got stronger, and the stronger teams sort of tread water. The Leafs arguably got a bit stronger. Edmonton arguably got a bit stronger, but Montreal came up by leaps and bounds.
Yeah, and Ottawa made some interesting moves.
Vancouver was maybe the strongest team based on how they did in the playoffs, and they went backwards.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of teams that are roughly at the same level, and it might just come down to the breaks on any given night, like a lucky bounce here or there. It could be the difference. You look at goaltending and you go, well, Montreal and Winnipeg. You look at offense, you go, well, Toronto and Edmonton. You look at defense, you go, well, maybe Calgary, maybe Montreal again.
Yep.
It's hard to handicap. It's going to be interesting, and we're going to see these guys. It's going to have like an original six feel to it, because you're going to see the same teams over and over again, just like they did in the original six era.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited to see how this turns out. So every year, I think every Leafs fan has the same mentality. It's like, this is the year. This is the year to play in the parade. Like, Leafs come out, probably 3-0 the first 3 games, and everyone's going to start beaming. But I just want to ask you: Is this the year? Kyle Dubas has been in the GM for what? Is this his 3rd year now?
This is his 3rd full year, I guess.
Oh, 3rd full year. This is like the 5th year of like Auston Matthews and Mitch Marner. So, at what point do we start getting like where it's like, is this the year, or is this like the last chance for Dubas and Keefe just started, but what are your thoughts on that?
I think Leaf fans, for a group that hasn't watched their team win the Stanley Cup for more than 50 years, they're a rather impatient lot. You'd think they'd have developed some patience. I mean, how long did it take Ovi? How long did it take Alex Ovechkin, right? How long did it take Steve Stamkos? It doesn't come easy. I think this is the year where they make a step forward. So how much further ahead do they go? Maybe they go all the way. The division is set up for them in such a way that it's an easier path to the Stanley Cup than it was before, because I think they are at or better than at the same level as the Canadian teams, or better than the Canadian teams. So that gets them to the end of the second round, maybe. then it's a wild card because you'll end up playing teams that you haven't even seen all season. So it's
Yeah.
really hard to compare.
Yeah.
But it's funny to me that this is the year. Sure, let's go with this is the year. Why not? Until it isn't. Let's say it is until it isn't.
Yeah. I mean, like it's just the narrative that always comes and goes. It's just, I don't know, fascinating to watch. And I guess like outside of the Leafs, what are you just looking forward to seeing? Like, there was a lot of movement this offseason in terms of like trades and signings. So what outside of the Leafs, maybe in just the North Division in general, are you looking forward to seeing?
Well, I kind of want to see Ottawa because I think they're going to be kind of stealth. They're not going to be an easy out, right? They might not. They'll probably finish last, but I think they're going to be a better team than what fans are giving them credit. And if
Mhm.
they get a team's number, like if they just match up really well against one of the other Canadian teams, that other Canadian team is going to be a little bit messed up. If they're
Mhm.
not getting points against Ottawa when everybody else is, that's a lot to make up. So I'm
Mhm.
curious how Ottawa is going to do. Obviously, I'm always curious about how the top picks are going to do, and that's Alex Lafreniere
Mhm.
in New York. The Rangers are going to be an interesting team because they dropped to the bottom and are coming right back right away. It's like they won a couple of lotteries in a row, moved up a lot.
Made a
To
good
number one,
trade.
moved up to number three, and they got Artemi Panarin, and they
Yeah.
look like they've got a goalie. So they could be a good team in that division. Quentin Byfield in Los Angeles is going to be an intriguing addition
Mhm.
there, and I think the Kings are probably ready to start making a move back up. So you got two big teams in the States ready to start making that move. And Tim Stoltze in Ottawa,
Yeah.
another one. I'm always curious about how the Buffalo Sabres are going to do because I have a soft spot for them. I like Jack Eichel a lot as a player. They always seem to have these guys that do great at the World Juniors and then get to the NHL level and they just kind of fall flat, whether it's not flat, but they don't achieve the greatness.
They
Sam
just don't
Reinhart,
blossom. Yeah.
Casey Middlestat, Alex Nylander. So there'll be a lot of pressure on Captain Canada here, Dylan Cousins, to see what he can produce with the Buffalo Sabres.
And Taylor Hall.
And Taylor Hall, a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, Taylor Hall. Like there's a guy he can score. Can he get a contract? Can he win?
Former
Yeah.
MVP. So, I mean, it's actually if there's one team the Leafs I'm like excited for the Leafs not to see is potentially maybe the Sabres. So they do end up being. I mean, then I get nostalgic for the Battle of the QEW and all that stuff. Anyways, thanks again, Kevin. I'm sure we'll do another one of these within the first couple weeks of the season and see how it goes. So yeah, stay safe and I'll see you around.
Cheers.